Welcome to part 4 and the final part of our journey, where we are down in Queenstown and we are making our way up to Christchurch. We've come all the way from the top of the North Island all the way to the bottom. Let's go back up to Christchurch to exit this country. Now, don't think this is just a little quick trip up. There is some really important and amazing things to see. All possible thanks to Freedom Mobility and their vehicles. You don't want to miss this one, guys. Really epic, and the final part of our epic adventure. The whole part of New Zealand, which was good. But yeah, arriving in Queenstown, and what a awesome place. You can see why this is a very desirable place to live. Everywhere you look, there is mountains, there is beauty, there is trees, there is lakes, there's rivers. It's just like on another level of like beauty. It gets cold, so if you don't like the cold, it's not, come in the summer. But if you want to see what this world has to offer, you have to come to Queenstown. And also, if you do, again, make sure you've got a car so you can go up the coast up the road a bit further. And we went on a road to a place called Paradise, which is another filming location for Lord of the Rings. And again, this surprised us. There was a lot of places to stop and look out, and look at this view. This is 360 degrees on this viewpoint. The mountains behind you, the lake in front of you, and there was like rainbows happening in valleys in the distance. There was the misty part of the mountain tops. It's just spectacular. Again, the footage does not do it justice to you're there, and I think the best way to experience this is to get a car, to hire a car. If you're in a wheelchair, there's the rainbow, you can see. Hire the car. Freedom Mobility did a fantastic job, and you get to experience it in all these bits between. I think if you're just going to the towns, you're not going to experience what New Zealand really has to offer, which is these bits in between. Look at this, open road, nobody there. Some bits are a bit off the beaten path, like this bit, but then you get to a viewpoint, you just got it all to yourself. Like here, in a picnic spot, you literally have this valley to ourselves. Nobody else was there. Absolutely amazing. So good. And we came sort of shoulder season, I would say. So this is their autumn. And that meant there was obviously a little less people there. Really great time to come. Not too hot, not too cold. Although it was 0 degrees at one point. But, bearable most of the time. And sun was out, nice and dry for majority of our time there. So yeah, really recommend coming to New Zealand and driving lots, doing all that stuff. And you can even park up on a beach by a fjord overlooking the mountains and just enjoy your journey. And yeah, Queenstown was one of our favourite places. This is the second day we stayed here. We did stay there a couple of days, and we had this nice little wander around this little route, which somebody had donated these sculptures to the path, and as you go along, you get to see the sculptures, and nice and flat, fairly easy in a wheelchair, up until a point where it's not as easy. But with the tri-ride that I had, definitely made life a lot easier. And that's another point to say, the tri-ride here was fantastic for getting around. It made my life so much easier. And that's the electric wheel attachment, if you haven't seen that already or don't know what it is. Basically just clips onto the front of my regular wheelchair, and look, this would be pretty tricky in a wheelchair normally, but I'm carving it up, making it look easy, and enjoying my time a hell of a lot more because of how nice it is on that. And yeah, more views. Just everywhere you look, mountains. It's funny, we were looking on booking.com at hotels for Queenstown because we wanted to enjoy the town a bit more, not stay in a hostel like we had been, and just enjoy the natural beauty and just have somewhere relaxing to go to at night time. And every hotel room was mountain view. It's because every view is a mountain. You just look everywhere and it's just beautiful. And here's just amazing. And then near Queenstown, there's a little town called Arrowtown, which we went just for the day, which was like stuck in Gold Rush era, and this was really, really cool to see. Just like all the old shops, and I obviously wore the appropriate hat for the day because one, it was very sunny, but also I fit in with the old theme of the area. You know, Gold Rush. There was opal and jade that people used to come see here, and there's like this little old post office which we sent some postcards off to some friends and family too. But yeah, Queenstown. Really epic place, and I feel like if you're just going to go to one place in New Zealand, Queenstown is probably the one place to go to. I don't recommend you only go to one place, as I keep saying, get a car, drive around, but if you're only going to go to one place, Queenstown is the place to go. But as we were leaving, we saw the very famous bridge there, which was where bungee jumping was invented. If you didn't know that, it was invented in New Zealand. But yeah, we back in the car and we're on to our next destination, and this was another long day of driving to Mount Cook. On the way, again, epic drives. The whole of the South Island is really good drives, apart from one little bit which I'll explain about in a minute. But yeah, coming on here, like, look at that. Just, I probably could have done this whole video without talking, and it would have been just as, like, you don't need me talking basically to see how beautiful this country is and can be. And this here, another Lord of the Rings filming set, Pelennor Fields, if you don't know about it. It's where they had the big battle at the end. But we're on our way to Mount Cook and getting some lavender ice cream on the way. This was a quick stop. I saw a sign for lavender ice cream and I pulled over the car despite Alice sleeping, and I was like, we've got to get it. And it was really good because the lavender was literally grown next to where it was. But here we are on the lake and overlooking Mount Cook, which you can see there is the tallest mountain in the video and the tallest mountain in New Zealand. It's just like, as I said, I haven't really seen proper mountains before, and like, should say on the way here we got a bit of a traffic jam, and I don't think it gets more New Zealand than sheep. Hundreds of sheep crossing a road, stopping you from getting to your destination. But this was pretty cool to see. But yeah, this is proper mountains now. Like, I'd seen some mountains, I've been to the Lake District, but that isn't like this, you know. And there you can see Mount Cook peeking out with the snow tops, and just absolutely enormous. And like the lakes, and again, like, my words aren't doing this justice. The footage isn't doing it justice. You're gonna have to go and have a look at it for yourself. And then our last major destination before where our flight would be from, which was Lake Tekapo, and this is a dark site. And if you don't know what a dark site is, it's not a government agency thing. It is a place where you can see the sky at night. So it's a dark sky reserve, and essentially this is one of the best places in the world to go stargazing, and you can see why if you go there, because you can't film it really. I could maybe find some footage that isn't mine, but if you go onto Google and just type in Lake Tekapo, I don't have the camera capabilities of capturing stars at night on video, but like you can see here, like there is no street lights, there's no, like, after a certain time the house lights are out, and you can have just this awesome experience of seeing the stars at night. Unfortunately, the first time we got there, it was very cloudy, so we didn't see anything. But the second night we got there, it started to clear up as the day went on. And at night time I was a bit worried because it was still a little bit cloudy and we wouldn't be able to see. But then we went back in, we got a little bit warm because it was cold. And then we went back out about midnight, and the clouds had cleared, and it was just spectacular to seeing a whole massive just stars as far as the eye can see. And it was just a beautiful place, super quiet town, and really, really beautiful. Definitely recommend if you are just on the South Island to go there. But we're on our way to our next destination, which was Christchurch, and first stop at the International Antarctic Center. This is where a lot of the countries basically have bases, like America, Korea, and obviously New Zealand and Australia have bases here where they send people down and to do expeditions on the Antarctic. And here's some people and well, I say people, they felt like people. Here's the dog. There was some doggies. There were some huskies that we got to cuddle. We got to experience a cold room, which was absolutely freezing. It's like basically simulating what it's like to be in the Antarctic and what those beautiful cuddly little huskies that we got to hug were like, and just experience the cold. And here we had some penguins as well, which were native to Antarctic. And what was really cute about these is that they were all disabled. They were all rescued disabled ones. Some had brain damage, some had fin missing, some had like a foot like that wasn't quite right, and it was very cute. They're very cute little, and they're the smallest type of penguins you can get as well, which is very cool. They also had some other stuff here at the Antarctic Center. Really recommend it. It's a very unique experience, and quite cool seeing a museum that was a bit different than what you'd normally expect, which is very cool indeed. And now it's there driving one of the trucks. And yeah, our last stop, which is where the International Antarctic Center, was in Christchurch. And for the day we spent just going around its botanical gardens, which is another nice little spot to go around. Really great greenery and park, and yeah, it was just a nice little spot. You might get a theme here is that we like botanical gardens. We like the experience of just walking around these green spaces, and just seeing that natural beauty like combined into one space is really cool. And I think that kind of just sums up what's great about New Zealand, is that the towns are great, but the bits in between the towns is what's really great. And like, although the botanical garden is in the town, getting in the car and just exploring the country is really the best way to see it all. I highly recommend this country to anyone who's wanting to go. It's a long way to go, but it's really worth it. And if you're in a wheelchair like myself, then the best way to experience the country is to hire a car and to travel. If you can drive, they have, Freedom Mobility have hand control cars, which makes life great for somebody who enjoys driving and can drive. And like me and Alice could switch between us as well, so she could drive at some points, but I did majority of the driving because it had been a while since I had driven, and it was just great to experience. And coming from the UK, we drive on the left, New Zealand drives on the left, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. But yeah, really great just to experience the country in full. And yeah, really highly recommend it for anybody that's ever thought about it. Give it a go. So that's it, guys. That concludes our journey of New Zealand. We have gone from the very top of the North Island, going all the way down to the very bottom. And we did it the scenic route as well, not the direct route, which meant that we got to see some amazing things along the way, met some amazing people, and just had an amazing time together. If you are planning on doing a New Zealand trip and you want to have something similar to us, then the real only way to go is through Freedom Mobility. Their vehicles have a wide range of things that mean that you can get to where you need to be in the way that you need to get there. And that is what was special about our journey, is that we could share the driving, although I did more of it because I was enjoying it so much, but it also meant that we could just do what we needed to do. We could get to where we wanted to be, do the things we wanted to do in our time, and that was what was most important for our journey. And it was only possible thanks to Freedom Mobility. There's some more information down below about them, so be sure to check it out. But thank you for joining me on this journey through New Zealand, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.